But despite these vessels' command of the sea, before the day is done, one of these ships is going to sink. Off Rotterdam's shore, a ship with a mega-deep load of ore prepares to enter the port. Rotterdam is just one of 2 ports in the world that have enough water to harbour this baby. But as deep as Rotterdam is, it all comes down to nature. The port still depends on the highest tide to keep the Berger Stahl's massive hull from hitting bottom. The Stahl has safely travelled nearly 8,000 kilometres from Brazil. Captain's orders, head for port. The Stahl is ready to enter Rotterdam. But is Rotterdam ready for the Stahl? Navigating this beast through the port's front door gives the phrase tight squeeze a whole new meaning. Here's how it works. When the Berger Stahl approaches the port's entrance, the channel's width is not a problem. It's the depth. 24 meters. That means any ship that enters Rotterdam has just 24 meters depth clearance to get her hull through. The Berger Stahl's hull depth, 23 meters. And that last meter of water fills up with sand awfully fast. And there lies the problem. But Rotterdam's Port Authority has the perfect tool in their arsenal. She's called Cornelia. But ladylike, she's not. Cornelia is one of a vast dredging fleet that constantly clears the channel floor to ensure Rotterdam's megaship's safe passage. 50 tons of draghead rig plunge to the bottom. On every trip, this massive vacuum sucks enough silt and sand into her hopper to fill almost 600 dump trucks. When the hopper reaches its max, steel cables hoist her rig. A small trip out to sea, and the Cornelia dumps her load. Then the whole process begins again, and never stops. "24-hour shifts, 365 days per year. But no ship needs the space like the Stahl. At the next high tide, this port has to be ready to squeeze the mega-deep belly of this beast through its front door. But first, another hulking vessel is coming in with a load that's mega wide. The Savannah's captain has deftly navigated this monster ship all the way from Shanghai. But getting his ship into Rotterdam goes beyond even his expertise. Now it's time to put this 107,000 tons of responsibility onto the shoulders of Rotterdam's elite. The pilots. A special force whose only job is to bring these babies into port. They know Rotterdam like no one else. Navigating the tight corners of a docking berth is tough stuff, especially for the megaships. Boat-to-boat transfers are tricky at the best of times and downright dangerous at the worst. If the pilot were sucked under the ship, he would have no chance against the Savannah's 100-ton propeller. Approaching the port, a load this wide presents an incredibly tough navigational challenge. Imagine steering from the back, a ship the length of 3 city blocks, and you can't see 6 city blocks in front of you. From his helm, or wheelhouse, the pilot and captain have to peer over containers stacked as high as a 5-story building. Which means their visibility line crosses 2 ship lengths before they can see the surface of the water. Amazingly, these thin tug lines help keep the course. But if the Savannah overshoots her mark, they may not be able to stop her wayward progress. Pilot-to-tug communication is critical, since the pilot often can't see the dwarf tugs next to the ship. The Savannah is heading to the mother of Europe's container yards, Delta Terminal, the nexus of nearly 4 million containers per year. But before the mega-wide sidles up next to the Delta's massive cranes, she'll need to make one very important last turn. To make the hairpin right turn into Delta's docking bay, the Savannah needs practically everything her rudder can give her. If she side-slips, she'll crash into the oncoming container bay. The pilot begins her awesome right turn. As the Savannah hits the critical angle, the tugs throw their engines into the fight. But they can only do so much. And then the strain hits the breaking point. Her stern begins to slip closer to the docks. The rear tug scrambles to get their line reattached. As the remaining tugs heave their all to keep her on course. The rear tug finally reconnects his line to this giant. And the Savannah continues her turn. And keeps turning until she actually swings her whole stern around. And then it's a backwards, parallel park job on a mega scale. With one last thrust of her propeller, her giant sides glide to their final stop. Harbour Control's job with the Savannah is almost done. Just one last small step remains. Times 8,400. And Delta's squadron of mega machines are ready. It's just the kind of cargo they can get their teeth into. But they've got just half a day to pull off the job. Back in Harbour Control, eyes are drawn to another mega ship. This one with a mega tall load. The mighty Servant 3 has made it through Rotterdam's front door without a problem. She's heading for the deepest water in the port to offload her cargo. And the captain radios an urgent message. The mighty is about to sink. Exactly as she is supposed to. This ship has the incredible ability to take on water and sink its deck 2 stories down into the sea, which is the best way to unload her monster rig.